And so you just hear, and you hear the of his chair and him breathing into the mic for an hour and a half of that.
And you blamed me for an hour and a half.
Just like touching shit like randomly.
He was, but it was mostly the chair. It was mostly the chair. The chair was like the chair was making all the noise.
Yeah, it sounds like you're standing out in the wind. Can you? All right. I couldn't hear it. No. Yeah. Right. Well, I'm just sitting here. I don't want to move because my chair makes too much noise, and you get mad at me. So yeah, I know. Yeah. I did lubricate all the joints on my chair. I don't know. I'm gonna probably order a new one. Well, when I would phase out the service advisor chairs, I would roll them back into my office, and I would use those. They get the nice cushy ones because I don't spend a lot of time at my desk.
The most challenging part of building any estimate is finding the right parts in stock and at the right price. Now, you could open a bunch of tabs, search each vendor's website, enter your customer's vehicle information, and compare pricing and availability. But if you're following the 300% rule, this can take up a lot of your time. That's why Lucas and I both use PartsTech at our shops. It's one website to see an unlimited number of parts and tire vendors. With one click, we can import parts and order them from multiple vendors all at once. And here's the best part. PartsTech is absolutely free to use, and your shop management system is probably already able to connect with it. To get started, just click the link in the show notes or go to partstech.com/podcast. That's partstech.com/podcast.
Do you actually hate anybody? I mean, is that a thing?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Nah. Who has time to hate people?
I know.
I'm annoyed by people. Let's say that.
So am I. I'm annoyed by a lot of people all the time.
Oh, trust me right now. Your list is not as long as his.
Okay? Mine? Whoa,
this dude wakes up annoyed.
Okay.
There was a noise in the house. Starts with his father-in-law, turns into his wife. The only person I'm not seeing him annoyed at is his kids. Okay, he doesn't even get annoyed at his kids, but everybody else in his life.
I get annoyed by noises and sounds and things people do more than people themselves. Stuff drives me nuts.
I understand.
Well, at the end of the day, it's not the person, it's their actions, but that defines the person. So it sort of ends up being the same thing.
Yeah.
Can you guys see my cup? Yeah, you can.
Yes.
I need to. The other day we were recording, and I didn't notice that I had a cup sitting like in view of the camera the entire time, and it wasn't until I actually opened up the full frame picture, and I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me that this?
Oh my
gosh! The entire time,
we all thought you were getting side money from QT, man.
If we could get QT sponsored, oh man.
Hey, they really like that, organic marketing. Companies really like that stuff.
This isn't organic. I want it to be paid.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Organic I guess, I don't know what the word is, but they just want to see the cup. Don't say anything about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
just
silent brand placement.
Don't say a word about it. Just drink the drink.
The only problem is they've been trying to keep him out of their stores for years.
No, you
this mean mugging dude.
all of the pandemic stuff was rough, but the roughest part was when they got rid of the drinks, the fountain drinks at QT. Oh. And it was like 3 or 4 months. Yeah, they shut down all the drinks at QT, so you could only buy bottled, and so the fountain drinks were shut off. So you couldn't get cups or anything. They had just taken it all away, and they had taped off the fountain area. And so it wasn't 3 or 4 months later that they're like, "Hey, we're bringing it back." It was the sweetest thing to all of a sudden like walk up and get your ice and get your cup.
They didn't bring salad bars back in North Carolina, and that's a big bummer for me.
Ever? But now, like they haven't yet?
No, they're not bringing them back. They changed the law and you can't bring them back. Like they changed the temperature and everything, and they put all this crazy stuff in place. Now, the first event we went back to, right? Like we went back to the very first event after COVID, and they had mask rules up. And so here comes David, right? And to tell you how much this man loves his fountain drinks, he'd have a mask hanging off of his ear, and we'd be walking in, and he'd have this like super long straw out of his cup. And the cup had been empty for days, dude. Like
there are no places to refill it. So I gotta have ice. Like, it can't just be liquid in the cup. That's gross.
So we'd meet a security guard, right? We'd meet the security guard, and the guy's like, "Hey, sir, can you put your mask on?" And David would go trying to find that straw, like licking the straw back into his mouth.
I would just acknowledge them, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll get that mask on as soon as I'm done drinking," because that was the rule.
Yeah,
you got to pull down the mask and drink, and then pull it back up. So if I always have a straw,
I'm pretty sure I've got videos of you like searching for your straw with your tongue hanging out of your mouth.
That's what I did when I flew to Vision. Not this last time, but the year before.
Oh, at the airport.
Yeah,
the airport.
When I was on the airplane and the airport the whole time, just snacking
peanuts,
and drinking.
Dude. Yeah, just one at a time. Like, I'm eating.
Yep.
Yeah, but some of them get on Delta. Delta was like, hey, pull it down. She was yelling at somebody. She wouldn't yell at me, but she was yelling at somebody. And it was, pull it down, sir, in between bites, and then put it back up while you're chewing. And it's like, lady. And here's
what some
the
lady
drink
said
of
to us
choice. Here's the
on our
drink
flight
of choice.
back home.
Oh,
those are pretty good.
Ice.
They don't have enough caffeine for me.
This is tropical punch. It is fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the idea. I understand they don't have enough caffeine, but 70 milligrams should be enough, right?
I mean, look, I finish out my day somewhere around 650 or 700. So.
Oh my god! Hey, listen, when you haven't
made
it until you have your own espresso machine, okay? Gotta have your own espresso machine.
Idea.
I've thought about buying one for the break room.
Oh yeah, there you go.
$1,000.
Yeah,
but
that's what I
those
paid for
guys
mine.
Fired up.
What's that?
Hey, who was it the other day that was telling me about this super duper crazy coffee machine that's got all these options? It was like $4,000.
They're super expensive. The ones they buy at the coffee shops are like 18,000.
Yeah,
Ooh.
those
crazy.
are
Some are
like
more.
Commercial grades.
Yeah,
Who's
it depends on
typing?
the boiler and all that stuff.
Lucas, he's typing.
No, he's got ADD,
I can hear
man.
you
He's over here
typing.
like shaking his pen and stuff.
I'm not tight. I don't have nothing in my hands. What do you mean?
I can tell he's typing.
Oh my God.
He's responding to the TikTok comments, David.
All I can
Doesn't
say,
he know you're not supposed
it's
to
not
respond?
me. I can see my output up here. It shows me when there's noise. I don't want to hear it.
So we watched a video, Lucas and I, about short form content, in that Facebook and Instagram and who else? What was it? TikTok?
No, it wasn't TikTok because that is TikTok.
Is it shorts?
Facebook, Instagram, and somebody else.
No,
it was all
no.
the shorts.
So
Instagram, Facebook. Who?
That's
else
it.
does shorts. Maybe it is that.
YouTube
That's all
Shorts,
it is.
Instagram, and TikTok.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube Shorts,
No,
because
no,
they
but
just
it- but
started
it-
monetizing.
But shorts in particular, they had the whole video. What they talked about was that Facebook had realized that there was no way to monetize the reels and be profitable. There was no way to do it. And they were pushing all these people to get into reels and produce reels. But they said on the back end, we couldn't keep them on the platform, and we have no way to properly monetize it because they just keep scrolling. Like, they get past the ad. Longer form content on Facebook, they can just start jamming in ads, but because you're engrossed in whatever it is that you're watching, you tend to watch the ad to get through it,
Right.
and then finish watching the content. So the claim from the video, and this is one of those content, like how to make content type creators.
Right.
Was it Think Media? Lucas,
No,
do you remember?
no, it was. I cannot remember which one it was. I have to go
Anyway,
back and look.
the guy said Facebook's going to start pulling back its push on Reels. In other words, they want pictures. They're like, hey, we're going to go back to pictures because we can monetize pictures. We can't monetize Reels.
It's funny because I just watched something recently on that same thing, but then Instagram, which is still Facebook's Meta, came out and said all of the things that they want and they're going to start pushing this year, because the end of last year they said pictures, 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 but then they just came out with like the algorithm, and they changed how many hashtags they want you to have, 3 to 5. They don't want like a huge title. They want no third-party editing apps like CapCut and none of that. They want you to edit it in Instagram or Facebook. They don't want like the small videos where like in CapCut where you see just the video in the middle and it's black and black underneath.
Right.
None of that. Like all of the stipulations were kind of crazy, but they changed so much. Like that's why consistency is key, I found, is because no matter what, like I can look back through my stats on my pages and it's constantly like this all the time, like up and down.
You put yourself out there, right?
Yeah.
And so you're a business owner, right? We do this because it's a show for shop owners. It's a show for technicians, right? But you put yourself out there as a shop owner. Mm-hmm. Now, we were just talking about the fact you got some bad reviews for it, right? Like, is this impacting the shop? Do people recognize this media as something to do with the shop? Are they catching on to that?
Yes. So a lot of my current clients constantly comment on the videos as well. And so not only am I doing, of course, like the funny reels and TikToks and stuff, but I'm also doing informative ones as well. And then on Instagram, I do a lot of like Q&A stuff. So you can do the stories and then you put the question box in there and people ask questions. And I get so many questions on there from either current shop owners or techs wanting to be shop owners, asking like, hey, what did you do or whatever. So then obviously the people that are following my page that are either clients or potential clients see that and see my perspective. It's kind of like what they say for marketing. People begin to know, like, and trust you. So they're watching me talk constantly about these things and seeing the way I do things.
Well, I was getting ready to say that is right. Like that really follows back into that Walker way or Kim and Brian Walker, right? Because that's what they teach all the time. And video is a really great way to do that. When the pandemic started, that was one of the things we turned to, and people really responded very well to it. I think a lot of shop owners, though, are super afraid to put themselves out there, right? Like
very much.
I mean, what did you have? I don't think you have fears at all, but, did you have fears starting out? And didn't your wife like make you do it? Didn't she say hey, you're going to do this now?
Yes. The very first video I did, I just shared it not too long ago. It's been like 5 or 6 years ago. Cause I'm very vocal. So if I think something, I just say it constantly. So I would constantly be like, man, I really need to put out like a video of like my top 10 favorite Hondas. Cause that's what I specialize is in Hondas. And so I wanted to do a video just talking about those things and try to be educational, because it's a question you always get, hey, what are the best vehicles to buy? And so I had said that over and over and over again, and finally my wife's like, let's sit down right now, let's go do it. And so we literally just sat on the couch, she turned on the phone and started recording me, and that was my very first
What was number one?
I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure it was probably a 96 to 2000 Honda Civic, which you don't see very much. Those are one of the best.
Dude, they're gone.
They're pretty
pretty
much gone around here. I don't remember. It's 6 years ago. Nowadays, the best Civics to buy are 100% the 09 to 11, somewhere right around in there. Yeah. Once you get past that porous engine block recall that they had, those things are literally unbreakable. They're bulletproof.
The 09 to 11?
Yeah, so like halfway through 09, that bulletin. Yeah, but it's so cheap to maintain and run forever. They don't look good, but they run and they're very reliable.
90 to 93 Accord, bruh.
Well, yeah, but those still had tranny issues in them, the automatics especially. So
that's because they ran them out of fluid. It had like 6 quarts. That was the fill.
I've still got some of them I service, right? Like quite a few of them. And there's, there's cars we talk all the time like, hey, dude, we don't work on cars that are older than this, man. An old Toyota or an old Civic, something like that comes through the door, man, no problem.
Yeah, we don't
got you, fam.
Second gen CRV?
Yeah. The second gen's good. That we had one. Those are good. But some of those had issues with burning oil. It was kind of the start of that whole burning oil thing. Not as much as the newer ones. Yeah, not as much as the next generation. The next generation was real bad. Yeah, that's the ones where they really started getting into that. But
when I started like tinkering with cars, right? I love just doing one-off things that were very odd, right? And so a good friend of mine had a 98 CRV, and like a dumbass for no apparent reason whatsoever.
Did you lift it?
Right. I'm like 17, 18 years old, and we're messing with this car. I'm like, hey, dude, I bet you we can make this thing smoke all the way down the straightaway, like right down from where the shop's at now. So a whole bottle of Lucas oil stabilizer sprayed into the brake booster hose. It did not hydrolock it, right? Dude, that thing smoked for at least 2 months, right? Like it just smoked everywhere we went for absolutely no reason, right? Like
it's crazy.
I learned how to fix cars by breaking cars first, right? That's just how I got into this.
My first car was a walking billboard for eBay. So I bought so many eBay parts and was working out in my parents' driveway. Oh, what a mess. That was
dude, I miss those days though. Right? Like, David talks about how horrible being a shop owner is.
Those days are awful. I didn't have any money for parts. I didn't have any money for parts.
But you made it work. You figured it out. You just grinded through.
I didn't figure it out. I just tinkered on the car. It would never get fixed. It would just sit in my driveway, and at some point somebody would get pissed off, and I'd have to tow it away.
Oh, jeez.
The very first transmission and clutch I ever put in, I put in on my back. It was an NV 4500 and the Dodge 3500, right? And it was up on jack stands, and they were like smushing down into the pavement. And so I had some friends over, and I picked that transmission up. I put it on my back and like arched my back underneath the truck, and they like wiggled it in and got it in place and put the bolts in.
Oh my gosh!
Now I'm like, I get up in the morning, I'm like, man, my back hurts. I don't know why. My wife's looking at me like, are you stupid or something? I mean, like,
oh my gosh.
Come on now.
Was that your own vehicle? I hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, geez. But yeah, so that was the first video I did, and then that's kind of like where everything branched off, was from doing that video. So, not to kill the mood.
Well, you killed it. You killed it. This is why you stick. Yeah, this is why you stick to reels. You're like, hey, 60 seconds, I'm done. No more for me. Like, no, I just. If you keep it rolling, I'll just kill the mood. I'll just destroy it.
If I just
knocking stuff over.
Oh my gosh! I just broke my chair. Shoot.
This is the chair he's been telling everybody is such a great product.
That's in the background. That's in the background.
That's my cheat. Oh, wait. Yeah, there it is. Oh, wait. Where's it? It's behind me.
Yeah, you see that 16-incher back there.
I literally broke my SnapOn chair.
Oh no.
I know. Customer gave me this, too. He was like,
oh, get to that upset.
Oh, whatever. No, it's good. Oh, jeez.
Is there no pad left? It's
no, it was
metal.
There's like a metal ring
into your rear.
There's like a metal ring that's supposed to hold it together.
That's what it feels like recording with you every day, David. It's torture.
Oh my gosh.
What did you expect from this? I mean, did you really think that there was going to be a serious moment in this? I mean, come on now, Chris. You should know us.
Very much so. Very much so.
So you're encouraging shop owners to start doing TikTok dances? Is that what this is, or?
I encourage them to do video. Yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of examples out there of shop owners doing video, and there's so many different styles too. Like, there's a shop on TikTok, and they have like 160,000 followers, and they do a ton of like technical videos, way different than what I'm doing. So they're focused more on like the interview style, where they walk up to the tech and they're like, hey, what are you working on? What's the problem? And they'll walk through that kind of stuff. And then there's another guy where his like thing is, I don't know why, but he always takes a hammer and slams it on the table when he starts the video. And it's more like lighthearted, and he does like a lot of jokes, and he does a lot of like custom stuff, but he's got a ton of followers as well. Like, there's just so many different options with it. I think that's the thing. But like you said, most people are apprehensive to it. Anybody I talk to, I've yet to have anyone that I've encouraged to do video that doesn't say, well, I'm uncomfortable with it. I totally get it. Like, you get used to it over time. When I shared one in the mastermind group probably a couple months back, and it was a video I did a long time ago, and it was absolutely horrible. Lighting was bad. I was saying 1,000 times. I still say a lot, but not nearly as bad as I did before. I mean, it was horrible, but you just get better over time. So it's kind of just one of those things. Practice makes perfect. You get over your voice, because that's one of the things I hate, is hearing my voice. I don't really like seeing myself, but now literally doesn't faze me, especially once you start getting some crappy comments. That makes you get over real fast.
It just feels normal after a while. It just feels like this isn't anything, right?
Okay, time out. Shut up. He doesn't
You
look
shut
at
up.
himself at all. At all. Because I
Who?
do all the editing.
Oh,
Lucas.
okay, I got you. Yeah.
So
I
he
got
doesn't
you.
hear
He's got a valid
himself.
point.
He doesn't look at himself. He just blabs, stops the recording, and then walks off. And then, like 3 months later, he gets hate comments about something that I said or that he may have kind of agreed with, because he doesn't say anything that anybody gets upset about. So I'll say something, and then he'll be like, hey, they're really upset about this video that you put out that we did 3 months ago that he completely forgot about. He had no idea. No idea what's going on.
I don't know.
He looks at the downloads.
I do
or the
edit
views.
all my own reels. You don't edit my reels. If it's
When
me
was the last time
talking,
you
I
put
edit
out a
my reels.
reel?
Huh?
When was
Yeah,
the last time
I
you put a
quit.
reel out?
That's boring. I'm
See?
I'm the
This
guy who
whole
like I
video
find
is
something I like.
we
I'll do it and then I'll
encourage
quit.
people to do videos, and he's like, yeah, I just quit.
know,
It's
right?
stupid.
Wait, you got to stay
We do this
consistent
video
with
all
it.
the time, though. What,
You
Chris?
just- I was just saying you got to stay consistent. That's the problem. You start doing it, then you quit, and then you're never going to see results from that.
I agree. I agree 110%. I don't disagree with that at all. I will say though, like the what are the number one fears? Like you said, hearing themselves, seeing themselves. That sort of sucks starting out. And like they're looking for perfection. They want it to be perfect. It will never be perfect. If you try and make it freaking perfect, you're going to be so mad at yourself.
No, hold
'cause
on,
it's
hold
not
on,
gonna
hold
happen.
on. I've seen some of these videos come out. It's not them even trying. They're not even trying. That's the problem.
I will agree.
They think that what Chris does is he just gets in front and he does his little TikTok dance, and then he slaps some audio on it and he bloop, and it's like, oh, it's so easy. And now he's getting. Didn't you get a brand deal with SnapOn
Yes.
unofficially, or was it official? It was official. Wasn't
No,
it?
it was official. They
Okay,
sponsored
then why are
a
you being
reel.
coy about it?
Oh man! So
I don't
now
know,
I'm gonna
'cause
be
it's
all
just
in
not-
trouble for smash
it's
talking Snap.
It's not. It's not. They don't. I'm like one of the first people. So it's just. I
Oh,
don't
so
know.
they
I
stepped
don't
into the 20th century. Congratulations. I'm saying, I'm saying
Their
though,
scantles
like,
didn't.
Oh man.
What are you talking about? I love Snap-on's a fantastic company. I love their ADOS machine. Let me tell you, it is the bestest ADOS machine.
That is not what you said last week.
Oh my gosh.
The point was to get this video on his channel, you doofus. What are you doing?
This out.
Hey, listen. They make great scan tools. I love them for Hondas. They're one of the best for Hondas. If you work on much other than Hondas and GMs and Fords, they're not the greatest. That's for sure.
No, they do fine. Toyotas, they do great with Toyotas.
Yeah, I guess they do pretty good with Toyotas. Not good with Euros. Really bad with Euros.
Okay.
Depends on the Euro. Like Volkswagens, they're great with Volkswagens.
Let me explain something. I will retract my statement. I don't have a problem with Snap-on. I do have a problem with my moronic Snap-on dealer. I have a
That
serious
I get
problem.
that. Not all
with
dealers
this
are
one,
created equal, but that's
Not all
across all
dealers are created
platforms.
equals. Yeah,
It
that's-
doesn't
Yeah,
matter. I tell people that all the time.
Okay,
I had
hold
a
on.
fantastic dealer starting out. He built the business. There's probably $450,000, $500,000 worth of Snap-on tools back here. There are Snap-on scan tools back here. Exactly like the direction of it, which it's going, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But they have that new wireless module. They separated the module for the
scope module.
the scope
Zeus
module?
Plus.
Yeah,
It's
that's
still
nice.
wired though. It's nice, but it's still wired.
What do you
Like,
mean wired? What's wired? You still
The-
have to
the
like
module.
wire it into the really?
Buy an Altel,
Yeah,
baby.
it's not like an Ultra, which I did a couple YouTube videos about that, and that was like one of my biggest complaints. I'm like, you guys, they had such an opportunity there to make it fully wireless, like the Ultra.
Wireless.
The Ultra does so well, and everybody talks so highly about it. I've never used one, so
I like the Ultra. I'm going to tell you this right now. I would 1,000% prefer to have my Snap-on scope back, right?
Yeah.
And I would 1,000% prefer to be back in a product like the Snap-on because I grew up on it. I know how it works. I just have I can graph. I know exactly how I want it set up. I prefer it, right?
Yeah.
It is second nature to me to use that tool.
you get used
But
to it.
I'll tell you one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The one breaking point that I said I will never buy another one was when they started locking it down to where I could not share the PDFs, and I couldn't take the PDF that I had saved on a tool that I had paid for and kept up to date until the point that it was EOL. Now they're telling me that I can't take that file off of that and put it as a pre-scan. Now here's the deal, right? Like, I believe shops should keep updated tooling. No doubt. I'm cool with that. But I also like the ability to take that tool that I bought for however many thousands of dollars and give it to my apprentice and say, hey, I want you to start practicing with this. This is your tool.
Yeah.
But some of the things that I want them to learn to do are take those PDFs, upload them to their PC, upload those from their PC to the work order, and spend some time going through that process, right?
Yeah.
And so for them to stop us from having that ability to use the tool in its most basic form in a way that which protects shops, protects the technician, that bothered me. So that's the only beef I have. That is the only beef I have. My dealer is scummy, but otherwise, that's the only beef I have.
That's got to be an older one though, right? Because all the newer ones have the Altus Cloud, so they automatically.
Well, they
upload.
do, but it's doing the same thing. If you don't have a subscription to the tool, or they EOL the tool,
you lose that. You're right.
It's gone.
Yeah, you're right.
Why don't you take a picture of the screen? Problem solved.
It looks so bad though.
It does. I have one of the top dons in it. Like you literally click report and it emails directly to wherever you want. It's super fast. So I email all my pre-scans directly to my own email. So then I just have them.
See, the problem is nobody actually opens those PDFs.
I don't care if they open them or not. When I go back to
I get that, but it's if your intent is customer communication, I want them to be able to see what it is that we're seeing. And so a picture is so much better than a report. The report's cool. That was my big beef with the vehicle MRI. The vehicle MRI, the little scan dongle thing that you stick in there, you pull up the app, it runs through 1,000 tests on the vehicle for you, and it gives you all this information. Super cool. The problem was it was useless to the customer because that was just too much data. And the tech would also get overwhelmed too. They'd be like, man, this is just too much. And then you have to then decide what to do with all this information, which might be helpful, might not. Anyway, you went on a tangent. You derailed the conversation. My point was that some people don't try because they assume that you just get in front of the camera and they go and then they hit post and then it's like, ooh. And then what do you say? Like, this is hot garbage because they get their feelings hurt. Let me tell you, I've tried that. Don't do that. They absolutely get their feelings hurt.
You say that every single time I post a reel.
But that's you.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but and it is true because I've seen plenty of people start to do reels and then they get no traction or anything because they don't get any views, nobody's comment, nobody's doing anything. You have a couple hundred views, and it is what it is. But you're right; it does take work.
Good. What are you talking about? That's great. It's that. It's the assumption. My annoyance is the assumption that it's not a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
My annoyance is that they think it's easy. No, it's like anything else. If you want to get good at it and make it look effortless, you need to work really, really hard at it, or get really good at editing.
Yeah,
one of the two.
It's true. I mean, uploading them all the time consistently. I was watching a podcast, and not this one, and they were saying that even if you're
other ones, I didn't know there were other ones.
No, they're not as good as this one. But if you record stuff, like even if you don't like it, just constantly record yourself, and that'll get you better, even if you don't upload it.
It's like anything else.
No,
right?
you need the feedback. You need the feedback.
Well, you do, but some people, they got to overcome that at some point.
Yes.
Some people just have that huge fear of ever putting anything out there because, like Lucas said, they have those basic fears of hearing themselves, seeing themselves, but also they have the fear of hearing the negative feedback. They don't want to hear it. They don't like to hear that.
Nobody really wants to hear that. David, you thrive on negative feedback. That makes you happy. So, that's different for you, right? The other thing that I'll say is that people try and get out of their wheelhouse. They don't find a thing that they're good at. Right? Like I can stand up and be the talking head and say something that's either going to be somewhat controversial, but it's something I'm passionate about. If it's something I'm passionate about, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't do the funny thing. If I tried, I couldn't do the funny thing like you do it. It's just not me, right?
Yeah.
And David could do the funny thing, but probably couldn't do the talking head thing. If you don't do what you're good at, if you don't use your God-given talents and take that and run with it, it is miserable if you try and make it work. Yeah, but if you'll find something that you're good at and you enjoy, man, that's all the difference in the world.
And that was kind of my point earlier, is like talking about those other channels, and somebody had mentioned this in the mastermind group. They're like, oh, well, I can't do what you do. And I'm like, I don't want you to do what I do. It's going to look weird. It's going to be goofy. And I don't want you copying me either. Come up with your own ideas. But that I said you're very good with technical stuff, and people love that tech. I mean, look at all the YouTube channels, Mario and Scanner Danner and all them that do that people eat that stuff up. Even if it's on the tech side, you're still gaining that popularity, which helps grows your page, which helps push it out in front of those people. Even if it's your current customers, it's going to help boost your page on what they're viewing, which helps you in turn. So then you have more customer retention. People start to get to know you more. They're like, oh man, this guy's smart. Like I'm not technical like that.
It depends though. It depends. There was I think the name of the channel is like Mechanic OC. I don't know. I think it's Mechanic OC, and he's on YouTube. Anyway, he was a one-man shop in California, and he was working out of like a storage bay. I mean, it didn't look like it was much of anything. He had, I think, 2 lifts. But if you go to his like Yelp page, he had like 1-star reviews, but it was people that like, hey, you didn't fix my car right, but I can tell why. You spend all day making YouTube videos.
I mean, that's how my 1-star reviews are from those people, but they're not people I ever touch their cars. So
well, that's what I'm saying. It's like you get an upset customer, and the people that are just commenting because they don't like your content, that's different. It's like, dude, I will never meet you. I don't know who you are. It's whatever, right? But if you have a customer that things didn't go the way you wanted it to go for whatever reason, maybe a miscommunication, maybe they thought they were getting X and you delivered Y, because that's usually what it is. Whatever reason, they get upset at you. But you are like way out there on YouTube and on Facebook and stuff like that, and specifically targeting the customers. Because I guarantee you, not a single one of my customers knows that I've got this YouTube thing or a podcast or anything. Hell, my employees don't even know.
Go look on my LinkedIn. One of my very best clients the other day commented and said, I wish Lucas knew how much I valued his service and paying him for testing, because I know
that was cool. That was I think that was on Facebook too.
Yeah. I mean,
it was on YouTube. It was on YouTube. It was a customer saying, "Hey, they used to work on my car back in the day."
Yep. And that was a completely separate occasion, right? And she's awesome too. She's fantastic. But and so another person locally that we still work on their car, right? Like, he does a lot of the work himself. He really enjoys working on his own car. Brings his car to us for a lot of the testing and the heavy lifting, things like that. And he jumps on and he's like, dude, I want you to know, I really appreciate the fact that it's on LinkedIn, I think. I really appreciate the opportunity to pay you for this testing, because I know that when I pay you for the testing, I get the right answer. And that, you know, man, that made my day. That was just like awesome.
I mean, I have some of those as well. Like, I had one of my customers comment on my YouTube channel. I had no idea that they were even on YouTube, and they're one of my best clients for sure. And you're not wrong, David, at all. You're 100% right. But also, don't you think a lot of that comes back on that guy? Like, he has all those negative reviews because he's obviously not doing a good job. Like, you can't do a terrible job and put yourself out there and not expect that to come back on you. You're doing a bad job anyway. So it just gives you... That gives people more of a reason to give you.
His ratings are overwhelmingly positive. And you watch his videos while he's working on cars. Like, he looks like he knows what he's doing. I'm not saying any of that, but there are situations where the customer and you did not see eye to eye.
Yeah.
And if they paid you, if you stood your ground and said, well, you're going to pay me anyway because I did the work.
Yeah.
Whatever it happens to be, the relationship is not going to proceed amicably forward. And so they find you online, dude, they start following you around. And they do that. Some people do that already with just your business. I've had people follow, they'll leave a bad review on Google, then they'll go to Yelp, then they'll go to Facebook, then they'll post it on, what is it, Neighborhood? Is it Neighborhood?
Yeah.
Is it the Neighborhood app? No.
Nextdoor or whatever.
Nextdoor. Yeah.
Nextdoor. Yeah.
Yeah. They'll follow you on Nextdoor, and they're just spamming this same review over and over and over.
They'll make up fake accounts to leave you.
Yeah, but those people are the people that are doing that no matter what, whether you're on there or not. They're just trying to find you.
It has nothing to do with the video.
Those people are kooky, man. You can't stop them. Like, look at how many.
But what I'm saying is, if they find your YouTube channel and they find your podcast and they find you on Spotify and on Apple where they can leave reviews, all of a sudden they've got like, hey, it's not just complaining to the BBB. Now I can complain to everybody, and there's a platform there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
if your Facebook, your reel gets 40, 50,000 views, and you got somebody on there just hate commenting, just everything. This guy screwed up my car. He doesn't know what he's doing. Just post. Maybe you can block him, but that guy will just start another account, or he'll follow you on Facebook and start posting on Facebook. And all I'm saying is, like, all of a sudden the complaint gets amplified. It's not just the 7 or 8 people that are going to bother to read the 5,500 word review they just left you on Google. That's probably not going to get that much traction. Sure, it gets it out of the person, but not a lot of people are going to see it. That same review on one of your reels or your YouTube short that got, 1.3 or whatever million views, and that guy's just spamming that comment, that's going to get a lot more eyeballs on it going, maybe this guy looks like he knows what he's doing, but he doesn't. Or he's just going around pissing off customers. Does that make sense?
Yes, I absolutely. I mean, I've had people like that. I mean, I got a negative review because I blocked a guy. Never responded to him. Never commented. Nothing. He made an ignorant comment. I deleted it, and he made the same comment again, and I deleted it, and then I blocked him.
Don't do that.
And then
they get mad.
And then he left me a 1-star review.
David,
because
you
of
left
that.
him a 1-star review. What in the world?
Don't delete my comment. That's all I'm saying. Don't delete it. It was a valid comment.
But that's the thing. Like, I can respond and they get mad. I cannot respond. They get mad. I delete it. They get mad. Like some people you're going to have. But here is the flip side to what you were saying is you get to the point where you build up a community that your community comes on and basically squashes everything they say.
That's what I was going to say.
That is something that does happen. So I'll get that, and then my community that I've built, that I've grown and built this trust with, they get to literally see so much of what I'm doing in the shop and my personal life too, that they feel like they get to know you, which they do to a certain extent. Obviously, it's still a surface level deal, but then they come to your aid and they're like, "No, I've been following Chris for 2 years now, or however long," and that's not how the way he does things. So. But there probably is that, and like if you get that person and then you haven't built up a community, I'm sure there is like an area in there. My account just grew so fast. I got super blessed with just really quick growth. So I don't really know that space because I don't know. It grew really fast. So I just got lucky.
Well, I mean, look, we made quite a few videos for the shop. And I did not like continue to push forward with the videos mainly because of the time aspect, right? Yeah. Like they were long form content. They weren't short form content. And we've talked about making videos for the shop and going back and catching something quick. And there's folks like Shop Marketing Pros who will make those reels for you. Like if you're paying them to market for you, they'll throw reels together and throw them up and you don't even have to mess with it. You just get the content. And so it's not always that you have to put all that work in. For me, the reality is it took time, and no matter what I did, like I was unhappy with the quality of the content unless I did it myself. Does that make sense? Yeah. In other words, like it wasn't that they were doing anything wrong. It wasn't that it wasn't good content. It's just it represents my business, and I had an envisionment of what I thought that would look like in my head, and that's really hard to recreate unless you're doing it yourself. And so editing and putting all that together takes time, right? And like audio quality. I don't know how many people I've talked to, and I've seen video after video, and they'll have the gain wrong, it'll be clipping, or it'll be too low, and you can't hear, it'll be echoey. That's hard to watch. You don't want to watch that. It's not fun to participate with that. You've got to make sure the audio's good. You got to make sure the quality's good.
Some people muscle through it.
Definitely has to be good. Some people do, but I have a good friend who was a video editor for a long time, and he said people will watch a bad quality video, but they won't listen to a bad audio.
Amen.
And so and I found that to be true as far as the audio. Like my first YouTube videos were absolutely horrendous, and I filmed them all vertical. I didn't even know you could film them sideways. I had no clue. This is how I started. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. Just letting you guys know. So all of my first videos were vertical, and the one guy's like, he commented, he was like, what are we stuck in the whatever century filming vertical videos? I'm like, what is he even talking about? I had no idea. So
yeah, but that guy didn't know TikTok was going to blow up though, did he?
Yeah.
It was going to be all vertical. Yeah.
Probably not. So, and I had no idea either. So it worked out in my favor, but yeah, I mean, I was filming all my videos, but I get what you're saying. Like what Kim Walker always says is done is better than perfect. And that's definitely true. Again, there has to be some sort of like, there is some sort of like social media aspect.
If you have the intent of getting better.
Yes,
that's true. if you
Very
have the
true.
intent
Yes.
of getting better.
You can't just constantly put out crappy quality, and you do have to put effort into it. It like when I'm filming something in here, it takes a normal job that takes me an hour. It takes at least 2 hours, 3 hours, and then I have to go back and double check everything because obviously I'm recording a video and I'm doing the work, so I have to do the work, film, do the work, go back and forth, and then I have to go back and QC myself after I'm done. Then I still have to do my normal test drive and then QC again just to be sure, because if not, like you said, like your quality, you don't want your quality of work to go down, which it's nice if you have, it's just me. So that's a little different. Like if you have multiple employees, it's nice if someone else is filming.
Yeah.
That way they're not trying to do both. So I'm at a little disadvantage.
David, if you remember, like we talked about that with Braxton, like I was talking about bringing Braxton in just to do video and marketing content in-house, right? That's all he was going to do. And instead I went a different direction and paid somebody else to do that. But, and I still think about calling Braxton from time to time and saying, hey, come up here, shoot a couple videos, like, where do you drop your keys off for after hours drop off, that kind of thing. Man, that stuff really helps the shop. And it helps folks feel connected and like they know what they're doing and know what to expect. I'm the world's worst, right? Like if you want something super simple, this is the way to do it. I'm the world's worst. Like I will go watch a video about an airport that I'm flying into so I kind of know where things are and can get acclimated to the surroundings. I like to feel comfortable. I like to know where I'm going. I'll look at the map for it, right? And be prepared and have it planned out so I know what to expect. And so the same thing with your shop. If you can take that and do that, even if it's not a full form video that's a reel or something like that, you can make those videos and put them on your website. And people, by listening, then when they call and they get you on the telephone, they feel like they have a connection with you, right? It's a different experience. And I think that's more so than the marketing value or anything else. I think the fact that the consumer knows you when they walk through the door because they've had a chance to hear your voice, hear how you talk, they feel like they've got a connection to you. And I think that's really important.
It is true. I feel like people are also like, especially if they don't know anything about automotive, they're already out of their element. Like a lot of people just don't know and they feel uncomfortable, and everybody has their horror stories of whatever somebody got ripped off, which typically is not the case. It's usually a communication issue, I've found in my experience anyways. So then, it helps them get a little bit more acclimated. They're like, oh, I've seen this guy, I've heard him talk, or this lady or whatever. So yeah, I agree with that for sure. Also, everything doesn't have to be long format. Like the majority of my stuff is short format. So I feel like that's another thing a lot of people think is they're like, oh, I got to record all this stuff. Like my biggest recommendation to people when they're starting to get into videos, I'm like, just put your phone on time lapse. It's the easiest thing ever. Put your phone on time lapse, record yourself doing a job, then put an audio behind it.
So you're using your phone or are you using a camera?
I use my phone for everything. I don't have a camera. So
there you go.
I guess he's got a long charger cord. Keeps that bad boy plugged in all the time.
I've got one of those rapid chargers that charges my phone really fast because it does die a lot.
I mean, look,
it's super hot too.
You can also use a GoPro, right? Like you can get a cheap GoPro right now. They'll do time lapse. It'll do and they'll do vertical video and horizontal video, right? So that's something you can do. How do they get started though? Right? Like what video would you make for your shop? And I've thought about that. So I'm like, I don't know what video I'd make for my shop for a reel. Like I can go back here and video one of them doing something. They're usually screwing everything up anyway. So like, I hate to video that because I was getting ready to do one the other day about this airbag and Eric misdiagnosed it. Listen, I'd hate to put that up.
I have stopped saying anything bad about my staff. They've decided they're going to listen to every second of every single one of our videos and podcasts, and now like when I am talking crap about somebody I can hear it in the background. It's playing in my shop. I'm not even there. I walk in, I hear my voice, and I'm like, this Smashy Bear Tech just grumpy as hell, just smashing things up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ooh, I don't remember saying that.
It's not a good
look. It was like a year ago.
Oh my gosh.
A year ago. And he's like, yeah, we listen. Apparently, I said at some point that all my staff is part-time because they only work part of the time. I said that at some point. Now, that's obviously not true. I love and appreciate every single of my employees. Every single one of my employees, they looked at me and they're like, yeah, you said we were part-time. We were about to all walk out on you. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
What? They're like, yeah, see how part-time we were. I guess we're part-time. We can go now.
That's hilarious.
You know, if we didn't have super cool staffs, none of this would work, right? Like, because Jade's out here dealing with clients that want to talk to me while I'm in here recording, and
That's
they're
making him
back there.
anxious. He's
Right?
you know, you can see it in the security camera,
if
and
you
he's
see
like,
me doing this,
"I
it
want
means that
Dr.
I'm looking up.
Lucas."
Yeah, means I'm looking up to see what's going on out there.
You say that,
Oh
but
my
Chris is the employee. He's it.
I know, right?
Well, he can
Man,
do it.
those were the days. Not really. That sucked.
My
No, that was
boss is
worst.
a jerk, so that's not fun some days. It's a hard
My boss
it's a
is
hard
lazy.
grind for
Are you
sure.
gonna
Doesn't
grow?
do
Are
anything.
you gonna? Are you
Yeah,
gonna expand?
we've been looking for a bigger shop for a while. Like 3 months after we decided to look for a bigger shop, the Intel microchip factory is 4 miles from my house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there's like 7 acres down the street for me for sale right now for like $2.5 million. So if that tells you anything about the real estate around here,
Yeah.
it definitely threw in a wrench, which it'll be great for the business as far as long term, but short term finding
Why
a location's
why not
been a
look
little
for
rough.
a business that's trying to sell out?
That's what I've been looking for as well. I've been putting the word out and just been going. I actually went a couple weeks ago and met a couple local shop owners just to talk to them and just get to know some
Dude.
people in the area. And
Call a business broker.
business broker.
Yeah.
Business broker. Their job is to sell businesses.
Yep.
All right.
You get on
Take
there.
notes.
But yes,
he takes a lot of notes.
I need notes. If not, I'll forget.
And
Yeah.
they're very well organized. Like he takes classes, and I'm over there like trying to look over to see what his notes were.
Whatever.
Can I take a picture of that?
I'm a big note taker.
He anyway, the business broker will even if he doesn't have or she doesn't have anything immediately, if they hear of something or they're networking with another business broker, they'll say, "Hey, I've got somebody that's looking for that type of business," and you
Oh,
can set
okay.
the price, the parameters, and you can see look for something undervalued,
Yeah.
or properly valued but underperforming.
Yeah.
So something in it's $500,000. That's the business that they're doing, but that business could be doing $1.5 million if they just set some systems in place because they have the space, something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. We're definitely going to grow for sure. So I'm actually getting ready to hire a CSR. So I'm putting together
Nice.
my hiring ad and stuff. So I figured I need somebody else answering the phones more than me. So
Why not hire a tech?
this is a long conversation. So I have a 950 square foot shop with 10.5 foot ceilings, and it's a 1-bay shop. So and with all of my stuff that's already in here, there's no space for them to come in. I don't have a restroom. Like it's just going to be a whole, I don't know. It's a whole thing. So I would rather just have a building. So it's just going to be a little easier to have a building, and I don't want to put money into this current building because it's on my personal property, and people think you
the
work
building
all the
thing
time.
makes sense, but you bring in a tech to do the work. Now you've got freed up time to talk to the customers. They want to talk to you because that's who they've always talked to.
It's true.
You can spend more time estimating and
But then
working
who's
on the
gonna make
shop
the
marketing.
TikTok dance
Well, that's what I'm
videos,
saying.
David?
Like that he can do more TikTok dances. Somebody working in the background and you're doing the dance, right? And
Yeah, but eventually I
Seems
want to
like a
move
good way to
away
have
from
a disgruntled employee, buddy.
the. Yeah,
no, he knows what he's signing up for. The tech will be like, "Yeah, I'm here for the TikToks. Let's do this."
I have been warning my customers for a long time that my goal is to grow and get out of the business. I don't want to be here all the time. That was my whole intention of starting a shop. If I wanted to make good money, I would have never started my own shop and done this for a
You
long
have
time.
listened to David for too long.
I was making way more money as a mechanic, and I was offered a lot of money to come back. So after I started my own shop, so I could be now. Granted, some of that is my own choice because I don't pay myself as much as I used to because I'm growing the shop. So that's on purpose and some of that too. But I'm just saying, so that's when I get a lot of those people that are like, "Hey, I want to start my own shop." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. Let's talk through it now. Don't just go out and think that you're going to crush it." Like they're like, "Oh, well, I'm already kind of struggling." And I'm like, "Then don't start a shop. That's a terrible idea. You don't want to start a shop when you're already struggling." So you set yourself up for success, not failure.
You didn't answer the question. Why?
What was the question? I don't remember.
Why not a tech?
Because I want
Because
to.
he took Scott Palava's advice. What do you think? God,
I want to move away from the customers as much and start getting them used to it. It's going to be a CSR, so they're not going to handle all of the customer interaction, but it's going to start getting them used to someone else answering the phone. I'm still going to call for inspections. I'm still going to call for estimates and do that and do the service advising, but they're going to handle the appointments, call for pickups, call for drop-offs, help me answer all the calls, because we've talked about this before, and I know you say put a headset on, but it's not me where I can put a headset on and answer phone calls while I'm working. So then the phone goes to voicemail. I know that's not good. I want to start doing paid
all
marketing.
of that can get solved by you hiring a tech.
I understand that. I just feel like in my mind, I work this hard and work in this tiny shop with low ceilings because it's my business. I don't expect someone else to do that.
That's not what it is.
That's has nothing to do with it.
He is afraid of hiring someone better than he is.
No, I wish that would be great.
Bet you money.
I would love to hire.
We all say that until it happens.
I'm telling you, that would not bother me one bit whatsoever. I am not that great of a tech. I'm a good R&R guy. Definitely not great at Diag.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, but if you,
I'm terrible. I'm a terrible technician, and for the fact that I've not been able to hire somebody that's better than me, it's terrible. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. My techs listen too. They're not as bad as David's guys, but.
You are trying to run off all your employees, aren't you? Burn it to the ground. You have a giant building to pay for.
I've got everybody back here mad.
Here's what I'll do. I'll record a video and ask the people. I'll ask the people what they think.
So who's the people?
Who's the people?
I'm just joking. Yeah.
I'm curious. Okay. So this was supposed to be about videos. Give us the rundown. How does somebody
No, hold on. That's boring. Nobody cares about
do this thing. Oh, that's boring. That's stupid.
How does somebody start making videos?
Mute you.
Yes.
I
can do that.
Yes. Let's talk about this.
We already talked
thing.
about this. I talk about this all the time in the mastermind group.
Okay, I'm not the mastermind. I have no idea what the conversation is.
It
doesn't make any sense.
Hey, I don't know how to mute him. I do have to ask this though. Do you know where the mastermind came from? Do you know where the mastermind came from? Do you know the history of the mastermind? David started the mastermind. David was the mastermind.
I started a mastermind. That's it.
Well, then you know exactly what's going on
what that group was. And the majority of the leadership that was in that group came from what David taught and the system that he set up around that group, because Adam was in it. Scott drifted in and out for a while, but I mean David was the one who originally came up with the whole concept. He made it what it was.
Well, then you know exactly what goes on.
I didn't do anything. All I did was started it, and then I ended it, and then they wanted to do their own thing, and I said, go for it. So I don't know if they're telling you this in the mastermind, but what they should be telling you is that you'll make a lot more money and be able to leverage your time more easily if you're not actually working on the cars, because you can bring in the customers, you can answer the phones, you can do the marketing, you can keep doing your TikToks, and all you have to do is interview well. They should know up front going, hey, we're talking 2 to 3 years before we're in a new building, but this is the current location. This is what it looks like, but I need only this many hours from you. And you come up with whatever the number has to be. Because here's what's going to end up happening is you're taking on another employee with no ability to leverage the actual production. You still have to record your videos, which you just said yourself takes 2 to 3 times longer if you're recording, because you have to stop and you have to do all of the rigmarole. Okay, so you need to be able to cut that whole portion out and be able to bang out work. You can't do that without stopping some portion of what you do, but you can if you have a tech. Now you can record that person doing the videos, or yourself on the side working on something after hours, right? If you wanted to, or you can start doing slightly different types of videos or whatever. You can still be the mechanic, but not the only mechanic.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I agree with David.
No, I get it. And yes, that's what they've told me many times.
And you're not listening to them?
No, I listen. I didn't. Oh my gosh!
It sounds like you're just ignoring them, and then you're like, "I'm going to get a person to answer."
I'm not.
He's ignoring them.
But the thing is, here's the thing: I'm not ignoring them. Here's the thing: I can produce, because I'm only producing so many hours right now. I spend probably 60% of my time on phones and computers, not cars.
Well, that's what we're saying. If you would hire somebody, then
you're not going to minimize that. You're not going to minimize that. I'm just telling you, you cannot minimize that
at all. Even if somebody else is on the phone?
Nope. Even if someone else is on the phone, all they're going to do is go, hold on a minute, walk out, hey, Chris, and you're in the middle, like half TikTok dance, and you're like, hold on. And then you're going to have to pause.
Thank God.
You're like, and then
you'd have got TikTok shut down by now, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Then he's got to go, so-and-so's asking this question. It's like, okay, tell him this. Okay, I will.
Well, yeah, you train them to answer those. You delegate. You got to get.
Oh, jeez.
I promise it's not. No matter what you the thing is when you bring a tech in, you gain so much potential that you just can't see it right now. You just can't see what's out there. I promise.
No, I listen. I know you guys know way more than I do. So
I don't know that.
It's not that we know. We just been there.
Well, that's
And
what I mean. That's
turns
why you
out
know is because you've
times
experienced it.
I've tried both. I'm just telling you right now.
Hold up. Whoa. We don't need to know about that. Keep that to yourself. Okay? I don't care what you tried. Just take it
So then
somewhere else.
I just need to move to a bigger location then and just hire
No,
a tech
no,
and
no.
just be done with it. Yes.
You just need to
There's
hire
no
tech now.
reason. You need to hire tech now. There's no reason that if you have a lift, that's enough. Hey,
Yeah.
there are shops right now, big giant shops where the tech has one bay.
Yeah, no, I know that.
There's 7 other techs
That's
in
what
there.
I had at the dealership. I only
Okay,
ever
you
had
have
bay.
one bay. There you go. Done. You have a lift. That's all you should need. You've got a lift. I've got your space. Put your toolbox there. Go. Oh, you need this extra tool? I've got a whole mess of tools sitting here. You can borrow them. And oh, by the way, after you go home at 5, I can then bang out this valve cover gasket and shoot the video that I want to after hours or whatever. My point is that person is going to be an additional expense and not give you any extra time. You
They
think it's
will
going to free you up. It is not going to free you up.
I can promise of hiring both, right? Hiring front of house staff versus back of house staff. I can tell you my personal experience is hiring front of house is far more stressful for me than hiring back of house, right?
Yeah.
Front of house is something where like there's a nuance to it. This is how I do it. This is how I want them to be taught to. This is what I've done for my clients. This is what they expect, and that takes time to teach. Whereas back of house, for the most part, if we can just get basic quality, this is the subset of skills that you must have. And
A
this
certain
is
level
what I
of
expect.
competency.
Yes, absolutely. Now you've got that pretty well whipped. Then you can work on front of house. But what you'll do is you'll end up getting somebody up front, and you'll get stressed out because with is it Clockwork where he talks about that, David, where he brings somebody in and it's this vicious cycle because you bring somebody in and then all of a sudden you've got all these people you're babysitting, you're trying to teach them, and it's just time after time after time. You get frustrated and you're like, if I was going to have to do all this work just so this person
Why
can
am I
work for
paying
me,
for them?
I'll go back and I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
And so you fire everybody, and then you get so busy all over again that you end up in that same boat. That is front of house. And if that is your first employee, I'm going to tell you right now, if it had not been for my wife being the first employee up front, dude, I would not have been able to grow to where we're at right now, because it gave me the opportunity to hire some people in the back, get those processes down pat, and then I was able to come back up front while I knew she was taking care of the clients the way they need to be taken care of. And then we could begin to build into that in a way that we could actually pay that person, because the back of the house has to be generating revenue. Now we can come up front and we can have some time to have somebody up here that's not generating revenue and that we can work into, get them trained, and then get them to the point that they can be revenue generation.
Yeah. I'm just telling you the biggest mistakes starting out is trying to hire front of staff thinking it'll free up your time and hiring incompetent technicians in the back. And I'm not saying that as a derogatory statement. I'm saying incompetent as in they're highly skilled, because for whatever reason you think I can't afford a guy, an A-level tech, an A-level. I hate that terminology, but just for clarity's sake, you think you can't afford that A-level tech, and so you hire a C and or brand new tech, and they're like, I'll develop and I'll groom them to what I need. That never works out. Ever works out. You just end up babysitting people. That's all you end up doing
the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's hiring front of staff or hiring somebody that's below your level as a technician. You want to find somebody better than you as a technician first. That becomes your entire goal. I need somebody that can do R&R work and is better at me than at diagnostic work. That's it. That's easier to find than somebody who has the soft skills to be incredibly efficient as a service advisor. Because I'm just telling you, the skills needed to be a really good service advisor are not traits that are easily picked up by people that have been technicians their whole life. They don't recognize it, right?
Yeah.
And so they'll just hire somebody thinking that, they just have to answer the phone. That person has no idea what they're doing. No idea what they're doing. And you can't teach it to them because you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
The customers have developed a relationship with you because you're the person that answers all their questions, answers the phone, sets the appointments. Okay. So all you're going to do is do that full time. and you bring in a technician that you know can do the work that you were doing just more efficiently because they're not having to shoot TikToks and stuff. So now they're gonna be able to bang out more work, and then eventually get into a second building where you can you can hire that second tech, and at 2 techs bring in a service advisor.
Yeah,
I got you.
At 2
100%.
techs.
Yeah, right.
Don't bring in the one in until you have those 2 techs humming.
Yeah.
And then now you're doing, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a month. Now it's like, hey, I want to grow to that 3rd tech, but I'm going to bring in a service advisor to free up my time so I can push the marketing up to get to that 75, 80,000 mark and bring that 3rd tech or 4th tech in. Now they'll push me into the $90,000 to $100,000 range. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Bring the service.
Dude, I tell you what,
is a terrible.
I'm going to be completely honest with you, Chris. You could have paid a coaching company $90,000 last year for that piece of advice right there, and that
I'll take 45.
That would have been the thing that made the difference in the business. I mean, I'm dead serious, dude. That would have been the thing. That piece of advice right there for $45,000 would be the one thing that would change the business out of what they taught you.
You're expensive,
right? Oh, you ain't listen. This dude's cost me so much money. So much money. You don't know how expensive this dude is.
Oh, my gosh.
Enright is expensive. I got to pick up some Arctis 7 pluses.
That's right.
He's not good with 5s.
That's right.
You got the 5s. He was going to call him and ask for beta release 8s.
Yeah, I got the old
you
ones.
had the 7s.
That's right. Oh my!
No,
gosh.
I don't want the one better. I just want the swoopy surround sound thing. That's cool.
Oh yeah. All right.
See,
so
he knows.
back to your question. Somehow this came into a coaching session. Is
David says you're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. How do you get started? Honestly, you need to figure out what you want to do first. That would be my first recommendation, is like decide what type of content you want. You might have to record a couple different things to find out what you preferably want. Like I said, if you have employees, I would find whoever's the most comfortable with being in front of a camera to start, because obviously they're going to be a little bit more natural. If no one's comfortable, then you're really just going to have to probably do it yourself. And then you can either do like the fun, goofy ones like I do, where they're like industry, relatable, where I do like the ones where, I talk about what it used to be like when I was at the dealership, or what I thought it was going to be like being a shop owner. I like to make things more lighthearted. If you scroll through TikTok, and more TikTok than anything else, there's so much negative and toxic videos in our culture and our world. It's really bad, honestly. It's annoying.
Is it really?
To me. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. So
script.
That's
no
why
script?
I like no script. Absolutely no script in my opinion.
I agree.
Organic and as authenticity is the biggest thing. Like you have to be authentic.
The script puts pressure on you, right? And if you have a script, it seems scripted, right?
Yes.
Like, we're not actors. David is 100% an actor, right? Dude can act like nobody's business. But I cannot do the script thing. The other thing that I'll say is, like, there are some really cheap, really easy to use microphones that you can, they're shotgun mics. You can put a windscreen on them. You can drop them. Yep, I've got a set of those. But even better than that are the ones that can either connect to the bottom of the phone, or they've got some that have cords on them, and you can hook a shotgun to that. That way you don't have to have it on you. It's not moving around. You just put it out in front of you, and you talk into it. Look at the dot. Please look at the dot. Like, don't be looking at other stuff. Look at the dot, people. The dot at the top of your camera. In your phone, there's a little circle at the very top of it. Please look into that. It would make my life much, much better if I'm going to watch reels.
Gosh,
please don't be doing this and this and this and this. Come on now. Look at the dot. And
you know who does a good job, like just video content for their shop?
Who
is Buckley?
Yeah, Buckley does a really good job.
Jeff Buckley, not Greg. No, Greg's stuff is fine too. I hate Greg's stuff. It's awful. It's the worst. No, I'm just kidding. Greg's stuff's good too. But Greg does like in front of the camera where he'll hold it up and he'll just talk into the camera. Jeff though does for the customer content for his shop, where he'll pull out and like, this is an air filter, folks, and we're gonna replace this and this, and then he'll put it in there, and they're like 2 minutes long. They're informative. You're in, you're out, done. Yeah. And you can just look, and it's not super scripted, and he keeps it super simple. Yeah. That stuff is is awesome for your
and
shop
look,
when you're trying to push your shop stuff out.
For sure.
Here's the thing: is you don't have to spend a lot of money doing this, right? Like you got a cell phone, right? Like you see this little holder, right? That's like what, $10, $10, something like that.
Yeah,
on Amazon. Cheap. And then I mean, like this is an expensive Joby pod, but I mean, like you can buy them for $14, $15. You can buy a simple little tripod. You can stick it up and you can go, right? Like you don't have to spend a lot of money. The little shotgun mics, like you can get one as low as $20. You can get one as high as $60, and just set up and sit down and start recording. Go somewhere where it's fairly quiet and you got some good light, and hit record and try some things, right?
Yep. You're right. I started off with one of those.
Don't do any of those things there.
No, yes, he's 100% right. I had one of them. I don't know what you called that, but the bendy tripods, and I literally wrapped it around my post jack, and I would slide my post jack around the shop, and that's how I recorded all my first reels and videos.
That's good. I like that.
So that no adjustability, it was really bad, but it worked. I got it done, and then eventually I upgraded to a couple cheaper tripods that would extend, and then my buddy who was the videographer found one for
notes?
me. No, I was looking at my tripod. This is one of the cheap ones. Tripod. Look, this is one of the cheap ones. I was just going to show it. Like, it's super cheap. I think I bought it for $15 on clearance at Best Buy or something. I don't remember where it was.
When this whole reel thing took off, right? Look, I'm blind as a bat. I'm a big guy and I've got big hands, right? And I wear cargo pants, so I got big pockets. So I've always liked a big phone. You don't realize how frustrating it is. Find something that'll hold a bigger phone.
Yes, it's terrible.
Maybe go with a smaller phone. And listen, if you have not upgraded your camera, I mean, if you've not upgraded your cell phone since 1992, as David would say, it is time to upgrade your phone before you try this, okay?
Yes.
You need to upgrade your phone.
Quality, at least decent.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to show y'all a trick, okay? Look, I just want y'all to see this. You see this right here? You know what this is? This, friends, is a paper towel. And you know what you do with it? You clean your lens on your camera before you start taking videos.
Turn the filters on after. Get nice, clear, crisp picture. Realize how ugly you are, and then put the filters on.
Oh, I hate the filters.
And then
David
you realize
is still ugly. I've been cleaning.
That's because this is pre-filter. I'll throw on the 3 or 4 filters on just to keep things nice and smooth. TikTok's got some crazy filters, man. It's nuts.
It's
there
wild.
you go.
Yeah. No filters. Just be authentic and real.
Yeah.
That's what people want. People are tired of being sold stuff. They just want real and authentic. That's why I truly believe my channel has taken off, is just because I'm just me. I'm no different on camera than off camera. I'm the same person. Nothing changes. So
it's terrible. We all pray for your wife every time we see you. We're like, oh my God, that poor woman. He is that doofy.
I am.
Love you, Chris.
I very much am, for sure. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like, my thing is, and this is another thing I've been encouraging people, especially for the Changing the Industry group and stuff, is we've been talking about we want to change the industry, but like I said, there's so much negativity out there. Yeah. We need to put as much positive stuff as we can, even if it's just the little informative videos. It don't take much to do those. It's simple, and it still floods the market with something that's positive and informative. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be crazy thought out and edited, and just record something.
You know what? Look, we've got this special balance going. Okay, I don't know if you've noticed this. I'm the positive one. Okay. Now, unfortunately, the past couple of weeks, this dude has started to wear off on me, and I hate the world. Right? It's terrible. But I mean, we've got this nice balance going on, because I can't go if you just let me run loose, I'm going to be super positive. The world's a wonderful place. Everybody's good. Yes. Everybody's happy. There's no bad people. Everybody's good people. Right? And then David, if you just let him run loose, the world sucks. It's terrible. It's miserable. He hates everybody. This is absolutely unacceptable. Auto repair sucks. Do you have half a honey bun? You can have the shop. I'll even give you the people with it. Well, I own them, by the way. Right? And so the deal is that we balance each other out. We're in this somewhat equilibrium of we hate the world, but it's not that bad of a place. Look, Chris, this was the plan. Okay? We're not negative or positive. We're just somewhere in the middle. Okay? That is auto repair, friend. You've just not been doing it long enough.
There you go. Oh my gosh.
I'm done, David. I'm sorry.
Anyways, don't do anything that these idiots said. Completely stay away. If you cannot take the feedback, If somebody posts something that you don't like, don't get upset.
No.
Yeah,
No. You can't give that advice. You can't give that advice. And I'll tell you
What are you talking about?
He's
You
not
cannot
wrong,
give that
though.
advice.
He's not wrong.
Hang on. He is wrong. And I'll tell you why. Is because I used to hate negative feedback. And I get it all the time now, right? Just being friends with David gets you negative feedback. So my point is that like
keeps it 100.
If you,
oh my gosh,
it will tax you, right? But it is a positive experience if you can put yourself in that experience to where you have to face some negative feedback. There are things we will build a castle around our business, and we will say, no, everything's great here, right? And the problem is that we never get that feedback because we don't allow that feedback in, and people are unwilling to tell us that feedback. So if you can kind of condition yourself to some of that negative feedback, it can be a positive thing, right? Some of it sucks. And I know what it feels like to be attacked by people, right? Like you do too, the bad reviews on your business, things like that. That sucks, man. That's not okay. It's not cool to treat somebody like that. Because especially when it's completely false, right? Like that's not okay. And it's not okay for anybody to do it to anybody else. But my point is like
even if it's true, if the intent is malicious, if you're sharing the information to hurt somebody's feelings and not to give positive feedback, then maybe that's not the best thing in the world. But I think at the end of the day, if you have to come into it believing that what you have to say would be a net positive for the world. Does that make sense? Like I have something I want to share and I think it would help people, so I'm going to share it. But you do it knowing that you're going to get a flood of negative comments, mean people, like deranged people, people that have nothing else going on in their lives and all they want to do is bitch and moan at you and complain and whatever, right? You have to know that's going to come back. But you cannot take your eye off the ball. You cannot have that all of a sudden stop you. If that's going to stop you, then whatever it is that you have to share isn't that important. It can't be because you can't overcome that. So know that it's going to come and just be accepting of it. Be like, if it's something that you can actually work on, like, hey, your audio sucks, then like look at it and go, okay, I'm going to try making my audio better. Jump on YouTube. It takes 3 or 4 videos in. You're an audio expert. Done. But if you can't take that feedback and use it in a positive way, and all you're going to do is get your feelings hurt, and hey, my fifis are hurt, and I don't want to do this anymore, and you're going to shut down, don't bother even starting. Just stay away.
Well, and you have to expect it for sure. Like, and you're not wrong. Like
100%.
When I was
people
saying about
delusional, thinking that they're not going to get it, and then they get blindsided by like, what are you saying something negative to me for? It's like, dude, come on.
I tell my wife all the time, it makes total sense why people get depressed and stuff, especially if their identity is into social media, because people say the most off the wall, and the more exposure and the more people you get following, the worse and worse they get, the more common they get. I mean, if you ever just want to enjoy yourself, just go back and watch some of my videos or read some of my comments. You don't have to watch the video. Just read through some of the comments. They're amazing. But but
you know,
if you
like
take
10% of those are David. You know that, right?
That's probably fine. On my, like I was saying earlier, is like the people were saying, like talking about the vertical video. I wouldn't have not known that. I'd probably still be recording in vertical video. Or people used to tell me I said a lot. I already knew that, but they like made it more prevalent. So now I think about it more, and I'm like, okay, I can't say Like I focus on I train myself to get better and have continuous thoughts. I don't need to fill that space with an because that's typically what you're doing.
You know what? It makes you a better shop owner. It makes you a better service advisor. It makes you better at what you do, right? Like it makes you smarter down the road about other things. It makes you a better communicator, right? We've talked about Toastmasters with Craig, and the putting yourself in that uncomfortable situation, facing a fear and pushing through it makes you better. There's no way around it. It makes you better.
It does. It's good to get out there, and it's good to get some of that constructive feedback. And you're right. It does make you better when you're talking to your clients. helps you communicate what you're trying to get across when you're doing videos, especially when I do like the more informative ones. I don't do a lot of the DIY stuff because I feel like it's a conflict of interest, like a lot of the YouTube guys. And I have no problem with them doing it. I don't want people to work on their own cars. I want them to pay me.
Right.
So that's why I don't do it. But as you're like explaining some of those things, and when I'm doing some of my like small like tips and tricks, it helps me. I've had to record stuff 10, 20 times before because I just can't get it right. I just can't seem to say what I'm trying to say right. And I'll re-record until I'm like, okay, yeah, I like this. This worked out well. And that helps me down the road for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.